this unlocks a lot of space and supports a lot of the decisions that sustainability managers need to take. Just being able to understand how many emissions do I have, set different time frames, set different reduction pathways, and then empower yourself with the data to go into a meeting with the CFO and say, hey, we are on this trajectory, can you sign off on this? I'm here with Bella.
I'm here with Afonso.
We are covering our latest product sprints.
That's right.
So we're going to go over a couple of features, what's new in NetNada. Bella is from our development team, and I'm going to try to bring a bit of the business context of why we're doing what we're doing.
Go straightforward to just ask an LLM about your document and like retrieving information. It took way more effort to first of all understand the framework itself and then like make a document. So this is like the data that NetNada has, so this is the work that NetNada has done, which is to understand the AASB reporting framework and understand the requirements, and then making that knowledge, putting that knowledge into AI that we use and extract information from then the document that you upload to the gap analyzer. So in terms of making it possible, there were a lot of hurdles that we had to come across, which was like these documents are often quite heavy in their size. They use pictures, graphs, colors, and like it comes in all shapes and forms. So like it's not a very direct 1 + 1 = 2 situation at all, right? So I personally had to go dig deep into like the current LLM technologies like chain of thought prompting and making sure that there's no network latency and seeing really like how, like what this pipeline is and like how to minimize the amount of time this whole process takes so that they can, the clients can see that those gaps as quickly as they can. Now, there were a lot of decisions that we took, and right now the feature itself will look at the document, anything that you present. It could be 40 pages, 50 pages of like really dense content, and within like 3 minutes or so, it's going to extract all those informations for all those 166 requirements and compare that to your file and see how much you have met and what are the gaps, and then really show it to you in terms of like what's satisfied, what's not, why is it not satisfied, or like if it's satisfied, exactly what line in your report is like causing it to be ticked off basically. So yeah, and we obviously continuously improve that. For example, the most recent update that we did was to move all the processing logic to our very own backend, which reduces like dependencies and stuff and like improves on like reliability of this own feature. But yeah, throughout, even moving on, it's going to get better. And we want to make sure that one thing is to like improve the data quality itself and make sure like, okay, these are the requirements you need to be focusing on. And this is what we are going to be really looking hard for. And the second thing is obviously reliability of the whole feature.
Because I think there's an element of what you've constructed is an infrastructure that can be used again for many instances, not just comparing against AASB, but we extend to other frameworks or using it as we are parsing any documents inside NetNada, and we need to check against data quality, data gaps, and what's inside there. And I think thinking how can we repurpose the same technology across different parts of the app, I think is what's going to really unlock value.
Absolutely. And we're already talking about this a lot because of this groundwork being laid out. Now all we have to do is be creative and see how else we can use this.
Yeah. Awesome. This one is pretty quick, but I think was really useful. Before we only had Nettie, NetNada AI within the instance of our sidebar, and Nettie is there, and you can go there and create new chats. Maybe you should go there.
So like
go to Nettie.
Yeah.
You can create new chats, the same experience that you expect, ChatGPT or Claude, different context every time, etc. What we then did was also have Nettie exist as something you can interact at any point, and this was not outsourced to a third party that connects to a knowledge base. It was actually designed by us to have those API accesses to the database and so forth.
Exactly. This is what you're looking at right now is a standard UI where you can see most of the companies do, which is a chatbot, and most often it could potentially be an outsourced software that answers with some limited context. But what we did here is basically just give Nettie more places to live within the app. And we took decisions, very, very thoughtful and personally, I would say smart UI decisions to give users the options, for example, to keep it as a floating conversation or a sidebar in like different pages, obviously. And you can ask questions like, which page am I on? And I'm only asking this very obvious question because I wanted to show you like Nettie knows that you are on the home page and it can do this for all the pages and it's very context aware and it's trying to extract more context in from which page you're accessing it so that it can again answer better to you. But going back onto the UI decisions that we took, we understand that we as humanity use AI in like many different forms, and we've been using chatbots and chat features in many different forms. And a sidebar and a floating chatbot feature would like mean different use cases, means different workflows. And we really wanted to give our clients that flexibility of like, okay, if I'm going to work with the audit table and I'm going to like dig deep onto the emission factors, I might want to use it in one form factor. Whereas like if I just want to ask a quick question, I don't want to take up like most of my screen and like distract me. I just want to I can use it as a floating chat bar.
Because there's a difference between someone who's in the headspace to do back and forth questions and collaborate and draft the strategy versus someone who just needs to send a quick question while they're already doing something.
Yeah.
And I feel like the mode of interaction will change. In the future there'll be voice, but there's different workflows that happen at different point in time, and not everything should live within taking the whole window, opening a conversation, and start from scratch.
Exactly. This is a very perfect example of how we consider the psychology behind using our product and really make sure that we are putting ourselves in the client's shoes and then seeing what would they want and just creating the best.
Because I think there's a big component of people should spend less time giving context to AI, right? And if they're already inside NetNada, why should they start from scratch? Right?
Exactly.
And in this case, we have knowledge, but now we also are context aware of where they are in the app.
Yeah.
And it makes for a way better experience of reducing frictions, how they can get help and get their job done.
Exactly. Every step of the way, we just want to give it as much context as we can, and this is all progress and steps towards like an agentic workflow, an agentic product that really, really helps you take the big decisions and then for it to do the job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing that we've done this sprint in January was released our early version of target setting and emissions projections. As part of doing these climate reports, one thing is your transition plan and how things look forward into the future. So we've now taken the data that our clients generate and also take into account external factors like reduction of emissions on the grid, any internal actions that they're taking, like change of energy providers or reduction in flights, and then being able to project it into the future. Why is it important? As people are setting these targets, if I'm going to be net zero by 2030, they want to have a quantification of that. So CFOs can sign off on that. And it was a bit of a missing link of what we had in the app, because you can measure emissions, you can start creating a report, but can I actually set targets and map my reduction moving forward? And this unlocks a lot of space and supports a lot of the decisions that sustainability managers need to take. Cam actually worked a lot on this one.
That's right.
And just being able to understand how many emissions do I have, set different time frames, set different reduction pathways, and then empower yourself with the data to go into a meeting with the CFO and say, hey, we are on this trajectory, can you sign off on this? It was a really, really really big advancement, especially if things need to be audited. So you want it to be data back. Yeah,
this is really helping us calling ourselves an operating system because it all comes together and it always helps each other in the end goal.
So that is all for the month of January with the product updates. We'll go over all the new releases next month. With any questions, you can always reach out to us via email, socials, and of course, try the product at any time. and we're here to help. Any other things to add?
No, I mean, excited to improve NetNada.